Lekki is always busy in the mornings. Office workers rushing to work, keke drivers shouting for passengers, street vendors setting up their stalls before sunrise. Among them was a small wooden stand covered with a blue umbrella. That was where Mama Sade sold her akara. Nobody knew exactly when she moved to the area. One day, she just appeared with a large frying pot, a charcoal stove, and a small table. At first, people ignored her. There were already many akara sellers around. But within a week, something strange happened. People started saying her akara tasted different, better. "Ah, that woman's akara is special," one taxi driver said. "Once you eat it, you'll come back," another customer added. Soon, the line became longer every morning. Bank workers, security guards, students, even people driving expensive cars would stop just to buy from Mama Sade. Some people even joked that her akara had juju, but everyone laughed it off until the complaints started. It began with small things. A man named Kunle bought akara there every morning before going to work. One day, he told his friend something strange. "Bro, have you noticed the smell?" His friend laughed. "What smell?" Kunle lowered his voice. "I don't know how to explain it. The akara tastes good, but sometimes there's this weird smell." His friend shrugged. "Maybe it's the oil." Kunle wanted to believe that. But then something else happened. A young woman who lived in the estate nearby said the same thing. She said the akara tasted great at first, but after eating, there was a strange aftertaste. Almost bitter, almost salty, but not normal. Still, people kept buying because the taste was addictive. And Mama Sade always smiled quietly as customers praised her food. Mama Sade was a quiet woman. She didn't talk much. She just fried the akara, wrapped it in paper, collected the money, and nodded. But some customers noticed something unsettling. She always watched people while they ate. Not casually, not like a normal vendor. She stared. Her eyes followed every bite. Some people said it made them uncomfortable, but the akara was too good to stop buying. Until one evening changed everything. A teenage boy named Chinedu walked nearby at a phone repair shop. One night, he closed the shop late around 10 p.m. As he walked home, he passed Mama Sade's stall. Normally, she closed by evening, but that night, the light from her small lantern was still on. Chinedu slowed down. He noticed something strange. Mama Sade wasn't frying akara. She was mixing something in a large bowl. Curious, Chinedu stepped closer. Then he heard something that made him freeze. Liquid pouring. Not oil, not water. He peeked through a gap in the wooden stall, and what he saw made his stomach turn. Mama Sade was urinating into the bowl of bean paste. Chinedu's heart started racing. He watched in disbelief as she stirred the mixture slowly. Then she covered the bowl and started preparing the stove. Chinedu almost vomited. That was the same mixture she used to fry the akara everyone loved. The next morning, Chinedu ran to tell people, "You people must stop buying that akara." But no one believed him. Customers laughed. "You just want to spoil her business," someone said. Even Kunle shook his head. "That doesn't make sense." Mama Sade simply stood at her stall quietly, frying akara, smiling faintly, watching people eat. Chinedu became frustrated. He knew what he saw, but he had no proof until he came up with a plan. The following night, Chinedu returned with his old smartphone. He hid behind a parked car across the road, and he waited for hours. Finally, around 10 p.m., Mama Sade arrived. She looked around carefully before opening the stall. Chinedu began recording. Then it happened again. She brought out the bowl of bean paste, looked around once more, and slowly, she began to urinate into it. Chinedu captured everything on video. His hands were shaking, but he had the proof. The next morning, Chinedu showed the video to the shop owners nearby. Silence filled the room. One man covered his mouth. Another cursed loudly. God forbid. Within minutes, the video started spreading on WhatsApp. Customers who were already standing in line began watching it on their phones. One woman dropped the akara she had just bought. Another man spat on the ground in disgust. Soon, a crowd gathered around the stall. People started shouting, "Mama Sade, what is this?" But the woman didn't run. She didn't panic. She simply stood there, watching the angry crowd. Someone pushed forward and showed her the video. "Explain this." Mama Sade stared at the screen. Then she looked up slowly and smiled. A cold smile. Then she said something that made the crowd even more uncomfortable. "You people came back every day." The crowd went quiet. "You said my akara was the best." She looked at the frying pot. "You ate it happily. Then she shrugged. So why are you angry now? Some people shouted in rage. Others stepped back in disgust. Police were eventually called, and Mama Sade was taken away. For weeks, nobody bought akara in that area again. Even other sellers lost customers. People kept remembering the video, the smell, the strange taste, and the way Mama Sade watched people eat. Some residents even said they felt sick thinking about how many times they had eaten her akara. The small wooden stall was eventually removed, but the story stayed.